Welcome to the star room. In front of you is the chart for the March new moon, and we're going to talk about Mars and then Mercury and Jupiter, and I'm also out of its shadow zone, so this will also be very significant for this new moon and setting intentions. So let's dive deep into this together. Let's take a look at Neptune. It is something that affects us by a generation. That's what I'm reading here. Neptune in the sign applies to a generation rather than an individual because of the fact that it takes such a long time. It moves very slowly. Okay, and what that means is it will affect a large amount of people. Well, this is beautiful. This is very beautiful because what that means is with Piscean energy, if you have group thought, if you have aligned group power by your thoughts, you can create something. You can make something manifest quickly. So this is definitely a really good time to use the power of prayer, the power of intentions, and have focused thought within a group. When we have that, we achieve something quicker. It also helps that we have multiple things in the sign of Pisces. We have Venus, we have Neptune, we have the moon, and we have the sun. We have 4 of those things here, okay? 4 of the planets in the power, in the sign of Pisces, I should say. I think I said in Neptune. And you always might hear me interchanging them. That's because the sign Neptune, that's because Neptune rules the sign of Pisces. Neptune rules the sign of Pisces, okay? So yes, I use them interchangeably. Neptune can make the physical world disappear. And so we've been talking about how the sun is our energy and our vitality. And so the sun being in the sign of Pisces, I don't know about the rest of you, but for me, I've been feeling this. So by mid-March, it's only got 7 days left of being in the sign of Pisces here. And I know that because the sun takes 1 day to move another degree. So on the 14th, the sun will be at 24 degrees. On the 15th, the sun will be at 25 degrees, and so on. And there's only 30 degrees to a sign. The sun gets to spend 30 days in every sign. Okay? So that's why you understand the sun entering Pisces mid-February and then leaving Pisces mid-March, 30 days later. The vitality and your energy and your strength, that's your sun, and your ability to radiate and shine, well, Neptune has the power to make that disappear, right? Neptune has the power to diminish the energy, to diminish the sun's light, to diminish your light, to diminish your ability to radiate, to shine. Neptune is the clouds and the fog, the murkiness. When we think of institutions, Neptune is hospitals. Okay, it's also prisons, okay, because it's places where people are behind the scenes. It's places where you don't necessarily see the people. Or if you do see them, they're not who they appear to be. So this is Hollywood, actors, and this is also politicians. Focus on the fact that we know that within roughly 7 days, right, in roughly 7 days, we should feel a big burst in energy. And we should feel that big burst in energy because the sun will go to 0 degrees in Aries energy. The sun is a fire sign. It rules the sign of Leo. The sun going into the sign of Aries really empowers our physical body because Aries represents our physical body. So the sun being there, it will feel very different. So that will be in 7 days, okay? You will feel an increase in your energy. And depending upon your personal chart, I can't say much more than that, all right? Because your personal chart, yeah, it's a huge factor seeing where all the other things are. Let's get into the details. So you see blue lines on this chart, right? And you see that triangle, that's a trine. Triangle. There's 3 angles. Triangle, it's a trine. Trines are good. They add ease, I should say. I said good. Trines are when you get to coast. You're not riding uphill on the bicycle. You're not even on flat land. You're coasting downhill. It's time of ease. You don't have to work as hard. It's a good time to take a vacation during a trine. Things go easy and effortlessly. Okay? That's a trine. So we see a beautiful trine. This is the south node. It is a factor, but it's a trine, which is nice. So there's an ability to let go of something, because that's the north node. I'm sorry, the south node. It's releasing a belief because it's in the sign of Sag. Releasing freedoms, releasing a belief about spirituality, releasing belief about religion, releasing my religion, releasing my beliefs about traveling long distances. This is a release and a belief, okay? Because that's the south node, which means I'm letting something go. Sagittarius, I gave you those keywords there. We can go and get more details on that by clicking on the sign of Jupiter, because I know that Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius. So if I click on Jupiter, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, abundance, and wisdom. It highlights the areas in which you yearn to discover greater truths. Yes, sign of Sagittarius is also truth, so you're releasing some truths. Therefore, it can also be linked to excessiveness, right? Exaggeration, excessiveness. Some people, depending upon where Jupiter's placed in their chart, if Jupiter comes through, Jupiter definitely has a lot to do with gaining weight. And I mean, like, all of a sudden you go to bed, all of a sudden you wake up, you look in the mirror and you're like, what the hell? That's Jupiter. And that's a real thing that really can happen. And that it's so real, it's not even funny. I've been watching it. Inspirational approaches to life, right? Jupiter is the seeker. Yes, Sagittarius, you are a seeker of knowledge. You reach a goal, you set a new one. But yes, truth, belief, religion, philosophy on life, not science, but like humanities, the social sciences. And it also says, look at this, it says you're able to predict the trends of society. And you are, in fact, quite prophetic. Metaphysics, cosmology, science, mystical subjects intrigue your keen and inquisitive nature. Those are some of the words, the keywords, and the meanings behind this, what we're letting go. Did that help? Let me know if you liked having that text there to read, going through this, and just give me feedback. That would be really appreciated so that I can continue to do that which works for you guys, okay? And I don't know unless I hear from you. That's what we're releasing, all right? And this is a trine to our bodies, and it's Chiron at 7 degrees, okay? So Chiron, if you know how Chiron's going to move, Chiron's going to go higher in degrees here. And so this will become a bigger issue. This will become a greater release, because Chiron, as it grows in numbers, and it'll start to match the node. It'll get closer, right? Here it's at 7, this is at 14. Well, when it starts to get to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, then it'll be very close to being matching identically in the number, and we'll have a very strong trine. Very strong trine. So we're going to be releasing our beliefs, our truths, all those keywords about our Chiron, which is our wounds about our body. And so what is the wounds about the body? Appearances about our body, how we look, right? And how we look doesn't always have to specifically just mean how we look, as far as our physical features, like, am I overweight? Am I underweight? Do I have blonde hair and blue eyes, right? It doesn't have to be just like, oh my gosh, I'm not Hollywood. No, it could definitely be wounds about my ethnicity, the color of my skin. The Chiron wound in Aries in the United States chart, this kicked off everything with George Floyd. I mean, in our country, that already existed. The racism already existed. The division still exists based on looks. And Chiron was a key player in that, and bringing about the awareness of that, because some people didn't think that still existed in this country. Inequalities that are still very strong. And so we're working on changing that. You see that same Chiron then is doing the same with the North Node, which is always at the opposite of the South Node, in Gemini. That's the North Node. So this is where we're headed. This is our future. In Gemini, it's our thinking. It's what you think, how you talk, how you relate, and how you communicate. So we're starting to have discussions about this wound. We're just starting to have discussions about it. Remember, this is just a sextile. A sextile is nice. It does add ease, but it doesn't have as much ease as the trine. The trine is where you are just, you don't even have to pedal. It's like you almost have a motor on your bike and you don't have to really do anything. Where the sextile is, it's an ease, but it's just not as simple as the trine. There's still a little bit of work involved. And so I actually like this for where we're headed, because having conversations, being able to talk about our differences. A good friend of mine, Chat with Kay, if you haven't been to her channel, go check her out. She just uploaded a recent video. I think it was her What's in the News Wednesday, and then she does a Table Talk Tuesday, and she does Motivational Mondays. You want to check that channel out. She always has a spiritual spin, an optimistic spin, also a rational and logical spin on her What's on the News Wednesdays. And when her most recent one was about the differences that we have in our lives, whether they are from our race or our gender, whatever those differences may be, right? Social differences, but the ability to be able to find a way to resolve those differences. And so the theme of 2020 and 2021 and 22 is, how can we come together? Okay. And so having to talk, having this ease, but yet there's still a little bit of work there, forces us to have more thinking going on, forces us to keep asking, how can I change my words? What perspective can I take so that I can relate to this person? So when we get to the other planets for this new moon that's very powerful, when you have more than 3 planets or luminaries in a sign, it takes on a spiritual effect. So here he comes, folks. Here comes the angel wings. This is what we've been waiting to hear. When is the next stimulus check coming, right? It's coming. And this shows that. We've got 3, 4, and there's even more here. There's one here that I don't have on the chart because I wanted the chart to be more simple. But I will tell you what it is. We have Pallas Athena right here in Pisces at 1 degrees. So we have Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena is the strategist. She's intelligent. She takes on a spiritual meaning in Pisces, which is good to know. It's a feminine, divine feminine energy. And then we have Venus, okay? Venus is all about things being fair and equal and beautiful. Venus, remember, Pisces energy has the ability to make us a bit delusional. So it takes on more of a, I want to do this. I want to do this for them. This is important. This means so much. This is that person who writes the check and puts it in the mailbox, to whoever they're just simply giving to. They're donating money. They're giving money. It's a very giving, sacrificial energy. It's a very, I have to help you. I have to do this. And it's the greatest good for all involved because it sees the unity, right? What did we talk about at the beginning of the video? It understands and sees the unity. That is 20 degrees, 19 degrees, 49 minutes. If it was 19, anything that says 1930 or above, you just go up to the next degree, okay? So this is 20 degrees, which means it's conjunct Neptune. Venus and Neptune working together is angel wings. Venus is always a very beneficial energy, always very supportive. Wherever Venus goes, she comes to beautify. She comes to add equality. She comes to add harmony, balance. That is Venus energy. That is Venus. And she's working with Neptune. Venus and Neptune communicate together very well. They get along. A higher octave of Venus is Neptune, okay? In esoteric astrology, Venus, the next level, is Neptune. And so they get along very well. They understand. They can have good conversations. Because when planets are together, just because they're together doesn't mean they're talking. If they're on top of each other, depending on what kind of planets they are and what sign they're in, they could be on top of each other in a wrestling match and fighting and duking it out. But these two are not doing that. They are very, this is such a beautiful, I really do love this. I really love this. This will give us so much beautiful angelic assistance for our new moon ceremony. And by the way, if you don't, or if you haven't, and if you are inclined to, if you are interested in, make sure you comment to me that you want in on the new moon ceremony. It is a combination of, it's just what I do. It involves native rituals, that work for me and that work within me, and we create prayer ties for you. We put your prayer down on that piece of paper. It's part of our ceremony. It does not cost you a thing. Well, other than you letting me know what it is that you want. But that's all you got to do. And if you have an issue about privacy, just shoot me an email. But first, get in touch with me in the comments below so that I know you want to be involved. And I will make sure to go and look for your email, because I'm seriously, fastest way to get in touch with me is through the comments. So what is Mars going to be doing? Okay, now that we've discussed how beautiful this is all going to be, and the spiritual aspect, the sacrificial, the giving aspect that this takes, we want to see how Mars is going to be involved here, because Mars is malefic. Okay, Mars usually is combative. Mars is the fighter. Mars is aggressive and assertive. Mars gets things going. Mars is a trigger planet. Wherever Mars goes, that's when it begins things. So in the month of March, right, like March 1st, we had Mars entering the sign of Gemini, or maybe it was March 2nd. Mars entered the sign of Gemini. And now Mars will spend 30 days here, okay? 30 days roughly it'll spend here. And yes, planets move at different degrees depending upon what sign they're in. So Mars is in Gemini. It's a mutable energy, okay? It's mutable air, which means all of a sudden there is conversations and communications, and Mars will speed those up. It's also transportation, local transportation. My community. Oh, a few months back, I mentioned about the COVID and having, I know I said the C word, having the virus and having the shots available to more people, and Mars entering that sign. We immediately heard all of a sudden, like overnight, there was going to be all these vaccines available. That's because Mars got into the sign of Gemini. Gemini is the community. Gemini is business and transactions. It's communications. Gemini is touching in with those that are close, right? It's coworker energy. It's sibling energy. And Mars is action. It's action. So people are going to be feeling antsy. Like, I need to get outdoors. I need to see my siblings. I need to see my neighbors. You know, I need to actually, but again, Gemini is also the internet. It is social media, I should say. Your digital neighbors as well. So Mars going there really lights a fire under Mercury's butt even more, because, yeah, Mercury rules Gemini. But what does this have to do with Piscean energy? Well, what I will say here is that Mars being in Gemini actually squares. So it adds stress and tension to anything that you have in Pisces. But remember, you're not going to feel that stress and tension unless you have a natal planet that matches the degrees that Mars is at. So Mars right now for this new moon is at 5 degrees. So it is not, Mars, I repeat, is not squaring. It's not squaring any of our new moon power energy. You see that? Because these are in 20 degrees. These are at 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Mars is at 5. So we're all clear. Mars isn't squaring. The nodes are no longer squaring, right? They're no longer squaring Neptune. Look at this, is at 14. This is at 20. They're 6 degrees away, right? I mean, it's technically a square. Technically, they say anything within a 7-degree orb, but there's been a big difference. As soon as those nodes got a degree away from squaring Neptune, you started hearing better news on the news in regards to COVID, okay? And that happened like clockwork. Where the nodes are, just remember, folks, the nodes are powerful. They're real. Things happen.